It's the Retro Station 1989-2023 Holiday Special, featuring Splat with Cambot Jr. and the station's artificial intelligence, Margot, and a special visit from the one and only Space Santa Claus from space. Now, get ready for the host with the most, the man with no specific plan in geosynchronous orbit around the Earth, Commander Dan, and the Retro Station 1989-2023 Holiday Special. I'm Bert Perfunctory, Earth Action News. Give us a minute, and we'll give you your opinion. Tonight, the world holds their breath as the perennial destroyer of the island nation of Japan, Godzilla, threatens to just totally screw them up for what seems like the bajillionth time. And for absolutely no damn reason. Now, I'm just asking questions here, but just what did this Pacific nation do to piss off the giant fish gorilla? For my part, I will summon all my courage and bravely keep an eye on this story as it unfolds. From 7,000 miles away, in the United States, in this newsroom. Up next, more from the War on Christmas at the ever-popular Ground Zero. The battlefield, Starbucks. Dang it! You know what? Something needs to be done. This is just wrong. Those poor people. I mean, it's Christmas and everything. Oh, hi everyone. Welcome to Retro Station 1989. I'm Commander Dan, Commander and lone human inhabitant aboard the Retro Station, and this is License to Play. It's a review show where we evaluate old retro games that have licensed properties, like, TV shows, video games from the arcade, movies, comics, if it had a license and it was a retro game, we evaluate it. And, see if it has a license to play. Well, you know what? Anyway,
Commander Dan, we have received the results of the Planet X election. The winner has sent their victory speech and has commanded us to play it in full for the viewers at home.
Finally, we can wrap that up in a big giant bow. On screen.
Good evening, my fellow Planet Xians. I have received a concession call from my opponent, Admiral Beverly. And while he did an awful lot of giggling for my tastes, I am proud to announce that I am your new Supreme Leader. Pause for wild applause from the ignoramuses in the audience. Personal note, those who do not applaud go on the dick list. Thank you. Now, my first decree is that as your Supreme Leader, I will take a firm but fair hand with completely ignoring all of you and your whiny-ass needs. Pause for cretinous applause. Thank you. Enough. Shut the fuck up. My second decree. All future elections are suspended until we find someone willing to do this job with any desire to actually lead. Soon, we celebrate Space Christmas! My final decree is that every single citizen of Planet X will no longer need to request fruitcake on their Space Christmas list. Every citizen will be given a single fruitcake as part of our planetary social services budget. Even our citizens off-planet. Like those aboard Retro Station 1989. A wink. And Commander Dan, I'm going golfing on Arcturus 19. So review whatever you want. I'll come up with an evaluation order later. I command it from space!
Oh.
Concerned tone. This is unbelievable. Incredible.
I know. It's great. We can review whatever we want. I mean, Space Santa being leader of everything is pretty crazy, but letting us review whatever we want is the real Christmas miracle, Margot. We can use the review to raise awareness for those poor people in Japan.
But why?
Margot, what did I say?
Bup, beep, bop, bup, bup, beep, bop. Boo?
Exactly. You get it. Godzilla is real for some reason now and endangers the people of Japan. And this time, the world's most famous pissed-off radioactive dinosaur is hell-bent on the total destruction of the people who created him. The living embodiment of atomic devastation, the legend himself, Godzilla, must be stopped. The line must be drawn here, no farther.
Surely you mean no further, Commander Dan. Farther is a literal phrasing. Further is a metaphorical idiom.
Well, Godzilla's not getting any further then. And I have a brilliant idea. I know exactly how we're going to help those poor people. Folks, you stay tuned. And Margot, boot up the spreadsheets and the word processor. I have a plan. The Retro Station 1989-2023 Holiday Special will be right back after some words from our sponsors at...
We went to the big guy.
We laid the whole thing out for him.
We told him we had this great idea for a new game called Sonic and Knuckles.
It's Knuckles in his own game. Plus it has new technology.
Lock-on technology.
So you can play Knuckles in Sonic 2 and 3.
It's revolutionary.
He just laughed at us. So we sold the whole thing to Sega?
Who's laughing now? Batman!
1954 was the year cinema truly embraced the monster, from the inhuman humanoid, the creature from the Black Lagoon, to the twin robot horrors of Gog. Moviegoers were hungry for scares and thrills of the struggle of man versus monstrosity. It wasn't just human-sized terrors. There was the monster from the ocean floor, a massive one-eyed amoeba striking at a beachfront community, but then America upped the ante with them, a flick about gigantic ants attacking a small desert town, setting a template that American monster movies would readapt in films like The Beginning of the End and The Giant Claw. But it wasn't just them that fired the starter's pistol for massive monsters shattering civilization. It was Godzilla. The monster was an allegory for the human cost of atomic weaponry, and was the most disturbing film of that year for many viewers. The giant creature's nuclear fire brought home the horrors wrought upon the Japanese people when U.S. destroyed the cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima during World War II. When it came to American theaters, Raymond Burr, noted character actor, was added to the footage to provide more of a narrative that would appeal to the short attention spans of horror fans in those days. Godzilla's first outing did well in the US, but was explosive in Japan. Audiences loved it, and the sequel, Godzilla Raids Again, was in theaters the following year. But it was met with less than enthusiastic box office in both Japan and the US. Toho Studios, the creators of the monster, went into planning phase, and the follow-up, King Kong vs. Godzilla, came out in 1967, nearly a decade later. The history of Godzilla and his crazy retinue of kaiju, from Anguirus and Mothra to Mechagodzilla and King Ghidorah, all the way to Biollante and Desitroya, and back to this year's Godzilla -1. The Godzilla franchise has spanned decades, directors in both Japan and the United States, and 4 eras of Japanese cinema. It's simple as this. Godzilla is a destructive force, and the people of Japan have been his primary target for far too long. Great. I'm glad you understand the gravity of the situation, Mr. Baggins. Okay, we'll see you there. CBJ, how's it coming along with the others?
Well, everyone I've contacted is in, boss, but I've got to ask, what is this plan you've come up with?
Look, Godzilla has been a threat since before I was born, and in that time, they tried everything from atomic lasers, space robots, hell, they manufactured a way to destroy oxygen to try and strangle him to death. All failed. The one thing they haven't tried is the one thing that since I was a kid has always worked when there's a big problem.
And that is?
Get splat, and we'll bring Margot in on this as well, and I'll explain everything. Because this Gen X 80s kid is going to use the one power that Godzilla has no defense against. Hoo boy. Godzilla has a license. Where can we begin? I mean, there are toys, models, board games, and of course video games. To go into the decades-long marketing storm surrounding the king of all monsters, I figure I can give the discussion a little focus by talking about my experience with Godzilla as a fan. As a kid, I first saw Godzilla on television as a cartoon, and a toy series by Mattel called Shogun Warriors. The line included giant robots from anime television series, which were not related in Japan, but were brought together as a toy line and a comic book in the United States. Guy King, I saw him in Germany on AFN. Mazinger, I only knew this one as Transor Z, but only later on. Then there was Mazine and Deimos, but I was only interested in the gigantic versions of these toys, and only one specifically, which included my main monster, Godzilla. On my 5th birthday, that was 1980, I got Godzilla, and he was my favorite toy for many years. It was a weird toy. You could press his wrist button and launch his fist off, and his atomic fire breath, as pictured here, yeah, well, that ended up being this. Right? Unspectacular to say the least. So toys and cartoons were of one era, and as I grew up into a teenager, I put the toys on the shelf because my new love was video games. And Godzilla's been in quite a few of those along the way, beginning with a strategy game on the Commodore 64, which amounted to Geico Lizard vs. Squares, where you didn't even get to play as Godzilla. You just, it seemed like every time they put together a game, they tried to figure out which would be more fun, defending the populace or destroying them. The next game in line was Godzilla Challenge 1 on something called the Video Challenger system. It was a light gun system where you shot at VHS footage on the screen and racked up points, kind of like Captain Power. I found this footage on YouTube at Monster Island Buddies and Boo Jackashaw. Thank you, fellas, and give them a like and a sub if you can. But we got a lot of other games on the list, and there's just too many to count, and I was out of touch for many of those games. They came out during a dry spell for my gaming history, but there were a lot of computer games. I played one, the movie Monster game, where you got to play as Godzilla. It was kind of the featuring element of that game. But until it got to the NES, I really didn't see many Godzilla video games. I don't own this one now even, but I did enjoy it, even if I never beat the thing. I love playing as Godzilla, stomping the hell out of the alien invaders. It is hard as invisible algebra, though, and I don't think it's designed to be beaten. It's like the Kobayashi Maru or like Mega Man 3. Anyway, from there we got Super Godzilla here in the States, and again, we get a game where you command Godzilla and try to defeat the enemies of the people. You don't even get to be the people or Godzilla, just a radio telling Godzilla what to do. Which is the point, really, because these games, whether you control Godzilla or the military trying to stop Godzilla, the background, the battleground is Japan, and the real victims are the people on the ground.
Listen! These people are in danger now! Right now! I mean, look! It's not like you got something better to do or spend your time on or money on. These people are looking down the barrel of an atomic fire-breathing shotgun, for God's sakes, and you have the means to stop them. So give us the money! Not in a minute! Now, you greedy jerk! Do it, you little son of a...
Jeez. Oh, okay, wait. What am I doing? Money? What? I don't have any money, Commander Dan.
What? Oh, sorry. Dang, Splat. I really went off there. Don't worry, little buddy.
Yes, Commander. You were at a heretofore thought impossible 6 mega Geldofs.
I'm sorry, Splat. Seriously. I mean, wow. But you see, Margot? Cambot Jr.? That's the weapon.
Ah.
The only thing that can change the world, raise awareness necessary, and save the people of Japan.
It's Christmas time, but Tokyo is so afraid. He knocks it all down, crushes tanks, jets, and barricades.
And in our war against him, we've tried everything we can. But I'm pretty sure they're screwed at Godzilla time. But say a prayer. Pray for the little guy in Godzilla times.
All they can do is kiss their butts goodbye. With kaiju outside your window, stomping everything you see. And the only water flowing is a gush of terror pee. And the Christmas bells that ring there holy signal that they're doomed.
Well, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you.
There'll be no fruitcake in Tokyo this Christmas time. The best that they can hope, their death is fast.
Yeah.
Godzilla's such a dick. They need our help and quick. But do they know it's Christmas time at all?
Holy crap!
He just crushed that sushi place.
I wish we had.
A way to kill him from outer space. How will they know it's Christmas time at all? Wait. So, hold on, everybody. Wait a minute. Do the Japanese celebrate Christmas?
Sort of, Commander Dan. They celebrate Christmas, but it's more of a love holiday. Kind of like Valentine's Day. Couples get together, families sometimes too, and they celebrate by eating out at KFC.
Oh. Well, like with Kentucky Fried Chicken? KFC? Huh. Well, there it is. We raised total awareness. And social media says that raising awareness is the same thing as doing something. All right, I'll admit our lack of understanding of the Japanese culture regarding Christmas didn't let us create a full song, but we gave it a try, which counts, right? Modern day says trying is just as good as doing and succeeding. Maybe? Anyway, we're going to further that cause by evaluating Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters for the Xbox Original. So, the Godzilla franchise is split into eras, basically. The Big Beast Godzilla had the Showa era, which covers the movies made during the reign of Emperor Showa, from 1954 to 1975. The first Godzilla flick I ever saw was Son of Godzilla from that era, because it matched up to the contents of the cartoons I'd loved as a kid. I'd actually watched that one the most. The next era is the Heisha era, where Godzilla became a tweener type of character, both destructive and as a creature of massive power, wanting to dominate other monsters. So in doing so, in its destructive domination, became the rescuer of people in the process. Kind of not really its primary goal, but Godzilla then becomes a hero in a way, an anti-hero, which lasted between 1984 and 1995, where the movies related more to one another, and I did happen to love the design of Godzilla's look in that era. After that was the Millennium Era, running between 1999 and 2004, where Godzilla is more like a force of nature that man must struggle against, and he definitely looks like a dangerous, scary monster in that time. These movies culminated in Godzilla Final Wars, which served to destroy all of the Toho creatureverse, including the American version they call Zilla, and have very little respect for in Japan, as you can see here. Yeah, that's what we call owned in everyone's book. My Godzilla collection is small and very specific. I have a great board game that Funko created. It's got monsters and buildings and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. I've got copies of Super Godzilla and the game we're evaluating today. I also have a small commission from one of my favorite time Godzilla illustrators, Jeff Darrow, the man behind the look of The Matrix and illustrator and co-creator of The Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot. And the recent film, Godzilla Minus One, is the reason I evaluated this game for our holiday episode. It's taken Japan by storm, no lie. It's taken over Japan. Godzilla has landed in Japan and has taken over this holiday season. And based on the Millennium Era Godzilla and the monsters as well, this game, Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters Melee, is based upon the Millennium Era Godzilla. The player plays as one of the 11 giant monsters, Anguirus, Destroya, Gigan, 90s Godzilla, 2000 Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mecha King Ghidorah, Megalon, Orga, Rodan, or Mecha Godzilla, and they must defeat their opponents via punches, kicks, tail attacks, and special effects attacks. Each monster can use their signature beam attack and throw environmental objects, tanks, missiles, and the monster Hedorah, who can slow a monster's energy regeneration, are also present and sporadically attack all monsters. Extras include like power-up orbs, which provide additional health. You can summon Mothra, and you can choose several locations. The story of the game has a plot like many of the mainline movies. The aliens have arrived, they're called the Vortak, and have taken over the minds of the monsters of Earth, and only Godzilla breaks free and defends the world against the monsters and the Vortak. Although you can play as any one of the monsters and choose that was the monster that broke free and killed everyone else. Now, The game is pretty simple, and measured against all other Godzilla releases in the United States, let me tell you, this one represents the property on a level that far surpassed all other efforts, and shines as one of the best games on either Xbox Original or the Nintendo GameCube. But one question remains, and that question is... But do they know it's Christmas time at all? Well, that question, of course, and this one. Does Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee here for the Xbox Original have a license to play? Of course! This game is amazing! Well, with the graphics and if you get... Okay, look, the great graphics, and there's no story to speak of, but when you and your friends get together and are destroying the city and smashing into one another, what more could you want out of a Godzilla game? But we've got to check in on the news, and I hope we acted in time and we actually made a difference. On screen, please, Margot. And while I cannot imagine you've been paying attention to anything but our coverage of the impending destruction of Tokyo by the atomic horror known as Godzilla, however, if you are just turning in, well, we hate to disappoint you, but it seems Godzilla never showed up. Apparently, Godzilla was made aware of the following fundraising song, and according to Godzilla's representation, was completely shame-ridden and so abashed he decided to stay the hell away from Japan altogether. Rats, says I, as we were denied again a great fight. Looks like Christmas is ruined, yet again, by the woke mafia.
Oh, but that's not right. Christmas was saved. We did it. What? Wow.
Commander Dan, we've got a message from the Supreme Leader of Planet X regarding our next evaluation for the holiday special.
Hey, I'm not sending you this via live video etherwave feed because Daddy's got official affairs of state with a gaggle of co-ed prehistoric genital studies majors from the Planet X University to discuss the finer points of space Christmas. Not to mention Santa's prehistoric genitals, if you know what Santa means. Even if you don't, I don't really care. I don't care. But don't think just because the boss takes a breather means you're off the hook. So instead of letting you slack, I command the Restoration and its crew of plucky nerds to evaluate... Let's make it complicated for you. A real busy work kind of evaluation. Yes, okay. Yes, yeah. So, I command you, Commander Dan, to review a Christmas-themed golf game that's not Flash-based. Because the greatest gift Santa can give a humanoid like yourself, other than a box of Christmas meat or man-ape-specific delousing compound, is a challenge. I hope you're ready for this one, Bright Eyes, because if you fail to evaluate a Christmas golf game, you and your whole crew is going on the dick list.
Oh, but what about the state-sponsored and distributed fruitcake? That's not fair.
You monkey men are hysterical. Look, Earthling, the only place you're going to find fairness in the presidential dictionary is between go and fuck yourself. I think the last one is hyphenated. I think it's in there. So get it done. Space Santa out. From space!
Well, I'll be gosh darn. There it is. Right between go and
Get upset on the internet. You're a salt adult. You're a salt adult. Get upset on the internet. You're a salt adult. Throwing out a hissy fit, your views ain't in the millions, and every up and comer is a threat to what you're dealing. And instead of getting better, you just spout up on your Facebook, crying on your Twitter bit about how bad your case look. In case you didn't get it yet, allow me to rephrase it. You're grandma than my 4-year-old. I'm actually amazed. Like you couldn't even see the forest for the trees. The writing's on the wall, literally there to see. How you getting salt that a culture blowing up, man? I think there was a point where you stopped growing up, man. Instead of showing up, man, irrationally mad. Don't appropriate impression like the latest fashion fad. It isn't cool or funny to be acting like an edgelord. You alienate friends, pushing closer to the edge more. I don't know how to say it anyway to make it clear. If you're the one unhappy, then the problem's in the mirror. Get upset on the internet. You're a salt adult. You're a salt adult. Get upset on the internet. You're a salt adult.